If you ever thought you could predict the success or failure of a movie at the box office, then listen up. Plans for a film futures exchange could allow you to place your bets. The exchange would list current and upcoming film releases and include their predicted domestic grosses. Investors would then place long or short bets on the movies. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission is expected to rule on this next week. Joining us now just happens to be a guy from the CFTC. Good friend of the show, Bart Chilton, joins us. Thank you, Bart. So just out of curiosity, with all the things going on, derivatives, mortgage-backed securities, does the CFTC really have to regulate whether or not I think Avatar is going to do $2 billion or not?
Well, if you're going to put some money on it and it's a futures contract, then we have at least the prerogative to say whether or not it passes the regulatory test, and that's to make sure that the market is free and fair and it's not subject to manipulation. But, you know, these popcorn predictions that people would make, it really has to be a legitimate hedge for example, the studio. And if you have a studio using it as a legitimate hedge, the question arises, can they impact the price of the box office returns? And I think undoubtedly they can. I mean, whether or not it's last-minute advertising or having a show or having a celebrity on Happy Hour or on Letterman or something right before the release, that can impact the price that the box office takes. So these are issues we need to look at to make sure that, one, the studios can't control it, and if they are going to be able to control it, then they shouldn't be able to trade, and then it's not a real hedge.
And then, Bart, I mean, what is the usefulness of this? I mean, you alluded to it a little bit as far as the studio being able to hedge whether it makes money or not. But, I mean, you know, do we need, usually in these type of things, you have liquidity. You want liquidity for a market, or you want to manage risk. Talk about that. How is there a need for this?
Oh, it's a great question, Rebecca. And the major people that would hedge it, and that's why we have the futures markets, for hedging purposes, not just because, you know, Wiley Willard may want to go ahead and gamble on something. But you have these for certain purposes, and that's to hedge the risk. So other than the studios, you might have merchandisers, for example. You might have the cinemas around the country. But the major people that would want to hedge the risk, you would think, would be the studios. And as I say, they've got an inherent conflict, and so I think they'd have to be firewalled off from it. And then comes the question, well, if they're not hedging, then is it a legitimate market? And these are questions that we're asking, and questions, by the way, that Congress is going to be asking on the 22nd. And so I'm hopeful that we'll listen to what Congress has to say also on this matter.
So, Bart, forget Wiley Willard. Let's actually talk about Magnetar and Goldman Sachs doing exactly what you're alluding to. These guys did the same thing in the mortgage market, where they would actually create movies, i.e. mortgages, and then go out and buy options betting against the very movies or mortgages they were creating. What's to stop investment bankings from creating the worst movie ever and then profiting billions of dollars when it tanks at the theater?
Cody, that sounds like a movie in and of itself, that scenario. But that's exactly the type of things that we would want to watch out for. Look, we've got to keep our eyes focused like a laser beam on protecting markets from manipulation, fraud, and abuse. And I agree, you know, we've got a lot on our plate in the wake of the economic fiasco. I'm not so sure that this is one that rises to something that we should be doing. If there's a legitimate reason that we can, fine. But I see all sorts of problems with it at this point. And again, I want to listen to what Congress has to say too.
I don't, Bart. I honestly think that
Amen to that,
look, you know, you guys regulate oil, you regulate gold. The things that people need and live by and build homes with. They're just having a little fun with a studio. By the way, if you're worried about people betting on something that could be fixed, you know, I'm looking at Vegas and some of the sports lines.
You think?
So my suggestion, Bart, maybe it's something that we hear and then we just kind of, yeah, okay.
Well, would you do a scouting mission for me to Vegas and let me know the specifics of it?
Yeah, we'll get to work on that right away.
Do that.
We'll do Happy Hour from Vegas and bring Bart out to help us do that.
Always good to have Bart Chilton on, you guys. Always good, Bart. Thank you.
Bart, maybe next time we see you, it'll be in Vegas for the Las Vegas show.
All right, it's a plan, Rebecca.
Thanks for coming back. See you next time. All right, on tap on Happy Hour, folks.